Yeah, Hollywood, Hollywood, no looking down. Hollywood now, Hollywood, Hollywood, no looking down. Hollywood now.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Hollywood Now, where we are interviewing one-on-one celebrities, insiders, and influencers. Thank you guys so much for your wonderful support. IG as well for definitely supporting us. We can't do what we do without our wonderful, wonderful partners and our sponsors, Heart to Heart for you.org, Heal to Heal.org for that wonderful, wonderful partnership, as well as the Tommy Washington Therapist Group. Please reach out to our partners, let them know you heard about them on this wonderful, wonderful platform. Thank you guys so much. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe right now and share this video. We are on Instagram, King underscore Solomon underscore ENT underscore CO underscore, Twitter and YouTube, the same name, King Solomon ENT CO, the and symbol Media Group on Twitter and YouTube, and of course Facebook. We are King Solomon ENTCO. Please share, 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 and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We have another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful interview on Hollywood Now, and we are so excited to have our guest today. If I can do it any justice to read her bio, she is a Hollywood actress. She's a producer. She's a gospel artist, a songwriter, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful mother and wife. She's an all-around good person. You've seen her all the time. I always used to see her at the Bible study at Sandra. Wonderful, wonderful, sweet lady. And also at BET, I always see her. But she also is behind TV shows, E! True Hollywood. She's been a guest on there. She's also had her own reality show, The Family Cruz, several stage plays, production she's been in. Just a wonderful, wonderful person. She's also a wonderful musician as well. We are so excited to have the wonderful actress Rebecca King Cruz. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, if I could just do any justice, if I missed anything out, please introduce yourself to our listening audience, please.
Well, like you said, my name is Rebecca King Cruz. I am primarily a wife and a mom, wife to actor Terry Cruz and mother to our 5 amazing children and my 1 granddaughter. I am a singer-songwriter, Regina Madre, actress, reality personality, speaker, and author, by the way. So
Yes. Okay.
lots to talk about today. If you've got time, I've got time.
Yes. Thank you so much. No, I always see you, like I said, I always see you at events. You always was sweet, always was gracious to me, and I knew we'd have this opportunity once it presents itself. I know I reached out before, so everything has its perfect and wonderful timing, such as now. Thank you so much for always being just a kind person, because that matters as well. Thank you so much for your contribution. I know, like you said, done amazing things. So we're just gonna get right into the interview, and so we would like to know, how did it all start as far as your interest in acting, your interest in the arts?
Wow, that takes me way back.
Okay.
My mother was a singer. She studied opera style singing,
Mm,
and my father was a multi-instrumentalist. He was a pastor's kid, and he
mm.
played the piano, the organ, the accordion, the trumpet, the drums, and the guitar.
Wow.
And so there was always music in my home, all kinds of music, everything from Broadway show tunes to popular music. So when I was a little girl, it was Stevie Wonder, Carly Simon, um, oh my goodness, Bill Withers, James Taylor, the 70s. And then I fell in love with the female singers of the 80s, Chaka Khan, Whitney Houston, Natalie Cole. And then into high school, Sade. I discovered Sade and I fell in love with her. So
Wow.
lots of musical influences. And growing up, I studied dance. I was in various theater programs, so singer, dancer, actress, doing musical. Musical theater is where
Yes.
everybody cuts their teeth in high school, right?
Yes.
You got to be the tree, or you got to be the fairy, but you got to sing and dance and act all at the same
Yeah.
time. And
Mm.
so I discovered a love for performing, and I went to college for the BFA in musical theater and did several shows while I was there at Western Michigan, and
Mm.
also did some regional theater there with the Kalamazoo Civic Black Theater. I was in Dreamgirls, I was in Can Can, Best Little Whorehouse.
Yes.
Um, my gospel choir wasn't crazy about me being in Best Little Whorehouse. I'll tell you that. Um, and throughout all those years, I was always active in the church.
Mm.
So was choir director, lead musician, um, from the time I was about 13 years old. So just anywhere I could play, sing, or dance or act, I just about did. And while I was in college, met my husband
Mm.
and felt like the Lord was taking me that way, you know,
Yes.
um, and really felt that his love for entertainment as well would eventually serve me, you know, in the sense that I wasn't entirely giving up my dreams for marriage, but I was kind of postponing them because his first accomplishment was the NFL.
Mm.
So I went with him on that journey when he was drafted in 91. And by that point, we'd been married about a year and a half. And
Mm.
then, other than performing in churches, that's pretty much all I did. I worked in churches and sang and led worship, and I wrote music for the church. Sometimes I played keys, sometimes I sang, sometimes I directed the choir. But I mostly raised my kids. And then I went back into entertainment in my 40s with our reality show.
Wow. And how many
Yeah.
instruments do you play, by the way?
I play piano primarily. I'm a keyboardist. You see my Yamaha back there in the background.
Yes.
I'm primarily a keyboardist. I play a little bit of guitar, but
Okay.
and I would accompany myself on stage with guitar. But now I've got these dragon lady fingernails. I don't know if I'm going to play guitar, but
So
um,
are you classically trained? You could do a 14 sonnet in G minor?
I used to play a lot of classical. I don't play classical anymore.
Okay.
I actually gave up my classical teacher
Mm.
because I wanted to learn pop and R&B and
Yes.
gospel, and I
Yes.
was self-taught in those genres. I have good ears, so I started really playing by ear, learning all the popular music. So I sight read well enough to pass, but don't put me in the symphony. I'm better by ear.
So you worked on a lot of wonderful shows, and you mentioned your own reality show. So
Yeah.
how was it once you began to get that exposure from your own show? You got a taste of how it works behind the scenes. I know you guys
Mm.
had input on it, so you got a chance to be talent in front of the camera as well as input behind. How did that change your perception on? Did you want to do it more in front of the camera? Did you want to? Did it inspire you to do your own projects? What did that do as far as empower you on how to move forward once
Mm.
you did your reality show?
Wow. That's a tough question. I was still raising very young children when we did the
Mm,
family cruise.
mm,
So, whatever opportunities I took had to revolve around my family.
yes,
And so, I did not do a lot of independent auditioning for parts, although that was a goal. I primarily worked on my music because that was something I could do independently. I could do it at my own schedule. I was not with a record label.
yes,
And husband and I also have been creating content, creating our own ideas. You know, for a while we had a YouTube channel. We kind of
yes.
pulled the plug on that.
Mm,
We've always wanted to be entrepreneurs in this business, so we've tried to stay in control of
mm-hmm.
content that we do. And in the meantime, Dad's day job is acting, so he got cast on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and
Yes,
then a little farther down there, started doing AGT. So
yeah.
we're very thankful, very
Mm.
thankful to work for other entertainment entities, but we're always coming up with our own ideas. And I just released some new music just about 2 weeks ago,
What's
and
yes.
yes,
So
and
what platform
so
would they be on? Are they streaming now, or what can they
yes,
get the music?
the music is everywhere. It's on Apple, iTunes, Spotify. The song is called "What You Want to Do," and
Okay.
it's a R&B
Okay.
little old school R&B, but it was I wrote it just for every wife that's been sitting there at home waiting for her husband to get his tail home. You know, the food is getting
Yes.
cold, and you
Yes.
know, she's like, it's time for family time. You know, it's time to come home.
So
And
what can we feel? What the project feel like? What can we expect listening to your new music?
wow, I've got two or three songs on there that are really straight down that urban AC lane.
Okay.
A song called "Your Love," which is a little smooth jazzy, but it's still very R&B. What you want to do is definitely in the R&B lane. Another song on the project is called "Reaching for the Top." It's about living your dreams. That one's also in R&B lane. And then I have two or three power ballads that are just a little bit more pop. Um, they're a little bit more down the middle, piano driven ballads. So you might put you in the mind of like Nora Jones, Adele, Alicia
Yes.
Keys,
Yes.
but more ballad driven, not so much bump and grind, you know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you know, I'll be honest, I'm a songwriter, and as a writer, I get a, you know, I have country ballads in my songbook. I have praise and worship in my songbook. Got true, you know, flat out traditional gospel, contemporary gospel. So as an artist, I have really I've jumped genres quite a bit because I've put out music that I wrote myself, and some of
Yes.
it I wrote for other people in mind.
Mm.
And people were like, "Put your own music out, Rebecca." So I did, and
Yeah.
but I think I have honed down on this project. I've honed my style down a little bit as a performer, and so there is a wonderful cohesiveness to all the songs on the record.
No, it's just simply amazing. You're such a multifaceted talent. You're always coming up with either TV or just a woman of strength. And before I get into my next question, I just want to make sure everybody subscribe to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter, King Simon Entertainment Company and Media Group. We're here today on Hollywood Now, another great interview with actress producer Rebecca King Cruz. Wonderful, wonderful, just an inspiration to family, wives. I'm telling you, you are such a strong, silent type, and a woman. No, seriously, a woman of faith, a woman of strength. You know, because every time we see you, you may say, "Well, she's Terry Cruz's wife," but the family, everything. When you show up, you just have so much grace on you, and that
Thank you
is
so much.
someone that when you say can have it all, career, family, and you seem like you've just been able to do it so effortlessly. So please let the audience know what is some of the regimens or the secret or some of the things that they can do that wants it all and know how to maintain and keep it together that you have so eloquently done.
Mm.
Please share with them about that a little
Well, that's a tall order, my friend, but I will share. I will share some things that are pivotal for me that are in
bit.
my life book. You know,
Mm,
one is that you can't have it all at the same time,
mm,
and I think it's very important for us to pace our lives. I
yes,
did make a decision in my 20s to lay low a little bit with career to raise
yes.
my family. I did not have the wherewithal to be a really good mom and a super busy, you know, attorney or a musician or, you
Mhm.
know, 9 to 5, 9 to 9. I mean, you know, I did not think I would have the family I wanted if we were both pushing hard that 60-hour week, trying to make it. So I made
Yes.
the decision that as long as my husband could provide, and there were times it was tough. You know, he'd get cut from
Yes.
a team, and we would be back in the Midwest with our family. But
Yes.
I just did not want to leave my children to the wind
Yeah.
in daycare. And this is not slamming daycare, okay? Because there were seasons that I worked as well. But when I could, I was home.
Yes.
That was not. It was not a hard decision for me because I worked in a hair salon. I don't know how many of you know I was a hairstylist for many years.
Okay.
And those are long hours, they're long days. And
Yes, hard
I
work.
would I would drag my kid to the shop with me, and she'd sit on under the dryer pretending she had a roller in her hair, and I'd work on my clients, and we'd leave the
Mm,
salon at 7 or 8 at night and go home, go to bed, do it all over, you know. Uh, I just recall wanting to be that mother, you know, that wife and mother. Probably because, you know, my mother had to work. My biological father passed away when I was 6 years old, and she
mm,
had three small children. So my mother had a very big task as the breadwinner. Um, and I don't know that I wanted to give that life to my children, because I remember how just how weird it was to come home alone every day, you know,
mm.
with a little key. You know, my generation, we were latchkey. You wore a key around your neck, you hid it under your clothes, you let you spin and lock all the doors. You know, I just thought I was always afraid, you know. Not, and again, not to
Yes.
slam any mothers that are working,
Yeah.
but for my generation, it was a new period of women in the workforce. We didn't have all the wonderful daycare situations we have today, and I even had many bad daycare experiences, you know, with caregivers. Um, I wanted my children to have my values, to share my values. So from about 23 until about 40 years old, my primary job was mommy. I did
Yes.
not give up my dreams, but I certainly put them on the back burner. And I want to say to anyone who's having guilt to stop it, you know,
Yeah.
to let yourself be who you need to be. If you're a
Yes.
working mom and you're having guilt, shove it down the drain and just believe that your kids are going to be okay. You know, as
Yes.
long as you are doing what you know you have to do for
Yes.
yourself and
Yes.
your family, don't
Yeah.
believe less of a mom. And if you're a housewife, let me flip that coin. I went through feeling inadequate or unimportant because people would go, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
mom. I work at home." Sometimes there was a little bit of a stigma to that, you know, like you're
Yeah.
dumb, or like you're not educated, or you're old fashioned and you're letting your husband run you. And
Yes.
it's all just a bunch of lies. You have to choose the
Yeah.
life that works for you.
Yes.
And I read about a woman who did that. I don't know if many of you have heard of Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, but
Mm-hmm.
Justice O'Connor was a mom who went to college, got her bachelor's. Then she stayed home with her children until she was 44 years old.
Mm.
And at 44 years old, she went to law school, passed the bar, and within a very short time was a justice, in a judge in the local courts. And
Yes.
by the time she was 55, she was nominated to the Supreme Court. And I think
Wow.
it's important to understand her focus was very clear, because for
Yes.
one season, she focused on her family. Then
Yes.
she could focus on her career. And she
Yes.
did pretty good, I think.
No, she did wonderful, very
Yeah,
strategic, and it worked. Like you said, and that's part of the wisdom you operate in, and one should always operate in. I know you, like I said, a woman of faith, and I know that
yes,
makes a difference when you operate in that type of wisdom. And so I know recently, I know you had challenging with your health, and
yes,
you was a breast cancer survivor. So please put that all together: your faith, your wisdom, dealing with your health issues, and now you strong coming back even from that, is please share
yeah.
a little bit about how did that take a toll and everything.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I normally get my checkups, you know, pap smear, breast exam, everything in January, so that I remember to do it every year, you know. But I got busy one winter. I think we were traveling, and then I got sick, or I got whatever happened, and I skipped my whole routine. And by the time I got to the spring, I just move on, you know. And I kept having this sad little feeling inside, like, you need to go check, you need to go check.
Mhm.
And I just, you know, it wasn't like a fear, it wasn't like a warning. It was just an urgency, like, hey, go look at your, go check your boobies and your parts, and you know. And so after doing so, I just had this feeling like, well, what if they do find something, you know? And I remember I went to God in prayer. He said, Rebecca, whatever you do, don't be afraid, don't be fearful, but
Mm.
be proactive, be very proactive. And when they found something, they said, well,
Mm.
you know, we'll take a look at it and blah, blah, blah. But it's like I heard God say, don't play. You know, if they want to cut you, tell them to cut everything, just rebuild it. Just don't goof around with this. And I went
Mhm.
through the double mastectomy and reconstruction. So I have bionic boobies now, and they're great. Um, but I was early detection. That is a very big key to being cancer free, is to catch it in the stage that they can remove everything. And you know, I was fortunate enough that I did not have to go through chemo or radiation, and so that was a plus for me.
Mhm.
And so I hear the reports that often Black women are not diagnosed till stage 3 and stage 4. And it's
Mm.
because of not being screened properly every year, you know. So women, especially Black women, please be more proactive to go and be checked, and to get a pap smear. You know, I'm hearing that like cervical cancer is a very big killer of Black women. Uh, Ovarian, you know, it's important for us to check ourselves on the regular. And that to me is a big key why I'm still here. And I believe in listening to God and faith and prayer. But what I believe the Lord said to me was, do this. And when I sat there and kind of went back and forth about, I don't know, just a little bit of fear about going under the knife. You know, sometimes we're afraid to go under. People will forego surgery.
Yeah.
I just said a prayer and went for it. And God is faithful. He really did bring me through. He showed up there in the hospital and comforted me. And when I came out, I knew it was going to be okay.
Wow, that's amazing. So what's next for Rebecca King Cruz? What's next on the radar? I know you got a new album out, so that I'm sure that's what you're working on now.
Right.
I know you've been dealing with the challenges of the pandemic as well, and now
Yeah.
everybody's trying to get back and move forward. So, what do you have in store for us? What's coming up next? What we can look forward to? How can we support you? Please let us
Mm.
know.
Well, we have another project on the horizon, and that is a clothing line.
Wow!
Rebecca is designing
Congratulations! All right.
clothing, shoes, bags, beauty,
Wow!
a full cosmetic line that'll be coming down the line.
Wow!
We're just desiring to provide services to women. I've always been a part of the beauty business, coming from a hairdresser background, and
Hmm.
always loved fashion, clothing, anything that catered to and ministered to women that made them feel better about themselves. You know, anybody who works in those industries knows that it's like a ministry. You know, you give of yourself to your customers, and I found myself wanting items that I did not see in the marketplace.
Hmm.
So I created them for myself and
Amazing.
saw great, you know, rave reviews, people coming up, where did you get that, Rebecca? Where can I get it? Oh, I made this, I created it. And I went, ooh, time to open the
Amazing.
store. Hey,
Yeah.
you know. So we're going full
Amazing.
force, and we'll be announcing soon the release of our first written project together is a book called Stronger Together. Our deal is with Audible, so it's an audio book. Will
Okay.
be out in April. They just did a press release. So I think I'm allowed to say it. Can I say it now? Audible? We're coming out with the book. It's a
Good.
beautiful story about our love and how we almost didn't make it. And
Hmm.
through the grace of God and the power of forgiveness, we are having the life we dreamed about now. And
Yeah.
so thankful to have my husband with me right
Yeah.
now. We're 30, almost 32 years married. Um,
Wow. Amazing.
and
Amazing.
we're telling a story that a lot of couples
Congratulations.
um, will find challenging to hear. We didn't always do the right thing by each other, and I hope that when people hear this, they're not disappointed. They're just reminded that God is faithful. He really is. but they are inspired to know that perfection
Yes.
does not equal happiness, and that even if you've had some bad times with your spouse, um, if you're willing to work it out and fight for it and do the healing, you can build a bridge that's stronger than the one that was destroyed.
No, that's
Um,
amazing. That's amazing. That's wonderful. Congratulations on the book. So King Simon got another exclusive, y'all. The book is coming with Rebecca King and
it's
Cruz. The
coming.
book is coming. And so just share a little bit about it. Everything you talked about is really affirming your humanitarianism and your philanthropy. But I also know you have a nonprofit organization as well. Talk about
Mm.
that a little bit, because that's part of your heart and passion as well.
Well, I will tell you, the Rebecca Cruz Conference
Hmm.
was created to empower women primarily
Mm.
to follow their dreams,
Yes.
because we so often give up so much of ourselves when we take on husband and children that by
Yes.
the time we get to be 30, 40, 50, we don't know who we are anymore.
Mm.
And I wanted to just give women the shot to just to think about, what
Yes.
is it you would try to do if you knew you could not fail? And to
Mm.
go into their hearts and to uproot bitterness and disappointment and rejection and darkness, and say, where is that little seed of a dream that I had
Mm.
that maybe God will fulfill if I put some water on that dream? Whether it
Wow.
was to own a business or to have another baby or to write a song or tell a story or be a
Wow.
publisher or a author. I mean, I had to preach to myself when I gave that conference, you understand, because I was in the journey with these ladies, and I didn't want to come off like the expert. I wanted to share how, even though it looked impossible, I ended up on TV at 42 years old after, laying down my dreams at 21. And it's funny. God gave me the numbers one day. He said, Rebecca, if you had done everything you intended to do, go to Broadway and do all this, you still would not have performed for as many people as you did on that national television show. And I
Yeah.
did the math. I divided how many seats in the theater, how many nights. I would have had to do sold out shows for 10 years to equal the eyeballs that I got on my reality show.
I
And
know.
I thank God. So he took the years that were eaten
Yeah.
away and restored them to me in about a 2 year span. Really, just one evening was a 2 million views, you know,
Wow.
for cable shows, a respectable number. And 2 million views every week. I
Yes.
said, oh my gosh, I got to be a mommy and enjoy my life. And I still got to show the world what else I do, while still um, contemplating how much of that I wanted to give myself to. Because after we did the show, my husband went off and did a sitcom, and we all had to uproot and move to New York. So we kind
Wow.
of had to pause the reality show.
Yes.
But again, it was my will to be family first, you know.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
because at the end, how much will it profit me, to gain the world and lose my husband, or my family isn't where they should be in their life, and our hearts are broken and dismembered, and we're just not faithful to each other and strong. And I just I just find it hard to believe that we can pursue everything all the time and somehow not neglect that which is truly important. So that's my take on it, is put first things first and the rest will follow.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Like I said, everything that we discussed today really affirms one and the other, and the consistency in what you talk about. The saying, practice what you preach. And so
Mm,
everything, because even the last question was what type of advice you would give to the women, to family. And you've been doing that the whole time we've been talking. Just
mm,
inspiration on your whole life is a testament of what you believe. And so I just think them listening to this would be wonderful advice. But I was going to conclude, what advice would you give to because the new show, Behind Every Man, and so
mm.
it's like, that's a wonderful show. But this is what you've been definitely a testament of. But what advice would you give to those women, to the patriarch, the matriarch, the patriarch, the pillar of the family, those who hold the family down with his grandmother, wives, some
Mm,
fathers, stay work out the house or whatever. What
right,
type of
right,
advice? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to leave nobody out, right? And so,
right.
what type of advice would you give to the ones who's steering it all, but don't get the recognition? They're kind of behind the scenes, but they're just as intricately as important. It's a whole family unit and structure
Yeah.
that moves, takes a village. And so, what advice would you give in a conclusion in that?
I can think of no better advice than this that was given to me is stay true to who you are and what you value. If you let other people define your value, they're going to make you too small. Um,
Yes, yes.
it's easy to feel looked over.
Mm.
And I remember one time saying to God, you know, I said, I want to be number two, but can I eventually be number one? you know, and you know what the Lord said to me? He said, Rebecca, he said, look at Michelle Obama.
Mm.
He said, she's a number two, isn't she? I said, yeah, that's true. She is the support to her husband. He said, but she's a bad number two, ain't she? And I said, yes, she is. And
Yes,
he said, Rebecca, play your role. Uh,
yes.
we have power in our position. And don't ever let people think that just because nobody knows what you do, that God doesn't see and that the people you serve don't see because you live your life for an audience of one, well, maybe two, yourself and for God. And you must
Yes.
do what you know and feel in your heart and your spirit is the right move for you.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. And to fulfill that is to be at peace with yourself every day. Um, and once you have done that, all of those things, you're rewarded for that. You know,
Yeah.
your reward is that your kids are well rounded and self sufficient and not on drugs and not in the poorhouse and you
Yeah.
know not doing things that you're ashamed of them for doing. Your reward is that you still have a man who loves you in your 40s and your 50s because you
Mm.
guys took the time to write and to read and to share and to talk and to pray. You
Yes.
you have to do what you feel is right for you. And I'm not saying that everybody has to be a mom and a wife. I have friends, sisters, relatives, even a couple of my kids said they might not want to have kids. They might not want to, So you do you. You understand? Don't let your parents press you into having kids because they want grandkids and you don't want kids. You
Yeah.
know, do you and be true to you.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't mean that in a selfish way. I mean that in an authentic way. Uh,
Yes.
I like that people are understanding we that you don't have to be the husband to make the money, and you
Yes.
don't have to be the wife to care for the babies. Um,
Right.
I knew a man who was a real estate agent. His wife made more money than him,
Mm.
and he loved it because
Mm.
his position was that he had three sons. He could be at all their practices. He could be at all
Mm.
their games because of his real estate practice. He could work when he wanted.
Yes.
His wife had the high-powered corporate job with all the hours and all the
Yeah.
demands,
Gender
but he was
ginger
happy.
roles.
Yeah,
Yeah. Ginger roles are being redefined, and they're not being
yeah,
constrained anymore, and you're not restricted. It's what's worked best for the family. And
yeah,
that's really the new message went out now. That's the new protocol because you have to adjust with the
right,
times. We don't live in the same time no more. So you have to
right,
do what works. And so that's it. You have wonderful children, entrepreneurs, NYU. Your children are doing very well. So it
yeah,
worked.
right. Well,
And they're
and
happy.
yes, yes. Well, and then whatever your children do after a certain point is not your job and not your business and not your, that's another stage is
Yes.
allowing them to be who they are and
Who they are.
not not putting your beliefs on them, even though you want to crack their little head open and shove it in.
Yeah.
I love my kids. I don't agree with them all the time, but I respect them tremendously.
Yeah.
And so it's about you. And I can't emphasize that enough. I feel so strongly to reiterate that. Do what you want to do, what you believe is your calling, your desire, your want, your purpose. It's imperative because when you die, you better know that you did what you wanted to do with your life.
Yeah, that's
Period.
amazing. That's amazing. So we're so excited to have Rebecca King Cruz today here on Hollywood Now. Another wonderful, great interview. Please subscribe if you have not shared this video. Please, we are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, as well as YouTube. King Solomon ENTCO and Simba Media Group. Please share, share, share. Thank you guys so much for your support. And if you want to conclude with one last anything, please do so. Let them know your social media handles, how they can get in touch with you. She mentioned an exclusive on her book release really soon. She has new music out, and just see what she's working on next and what she's doing. And always about women empowerment, the nonprofit organization and wonderful works that she's doing, family and businesswoman, Rebecca King Cruz. Please share with the audience your social media handle, how they can get a hold of you, how they can help, what you're working on now.
All right. Well, as always, you can follow me on all social media platforms under Rebecca King Cruz. So Instagram is The Real Rebecca King Cruz. Facebook and Twitter are also Rebecca K. Cruz or Rebecca King Cruz. I also have social media for the music entity. So Regina Madre on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. But you can follow Regina also. We have a website for her, reginamadremusic.com. Keep you updated on new singles and new music coming out. But and of course, follow husband Terry Cruz on all platforms because follow my son Isaiah. Isaiah is on a new show for Nickelodeon called Side Hustle. So he has broken into the business as an actor.
Congratulations!
So follow Isaiah Samuel Cruz. He's blowing up. He's 15 now. He's not little Isaiah crying at preschool. He's a young man. So the family is doing well. And my daughter Azriel is an actor in New York. Follow Azriel and keep up with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to have all of them on the show. They got to all come on the show there. We got to have them all on here. Wow, that's amazing. That's exciting. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. Amazing.
Well, we're very blessed to be a showbiz family, so to speak. It's our family business. We believe God called us to be that, and we're thankful to see some of those dreams popping off finally after a lot of hard work.
Yes, that's amazing. So there you have it. Wonderful interview. Wonderful lady of power, lady of strength, such grace. Amazing. Please reach out to her, connect with her, pour into her. Definitely get any part of that grace. You'll be wonderful. I'm telling you, just make sure that you just tap in with her. Thank you so much for doing this wonderful platform. Thank you so much for just blessing us with your grace and with your wisdom. We so appreciate that and so glad that you finally got a chance to come. And thank you so much for that.
I'm glad we could work it out. Thank you so much.
Yes, we did. Stay put. We're going to conclude and I'll be right back. Thank you guys so much. Please tune in. Another interview with Hollywood Now. Till next time. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, Hollywood, Hollywood.